Tonight on News Around the World, President Tinubu declares insecurity, poverty as national emergencies. Governor Makinde restates dedication to strengthen security framework. On the foreign scene, riot erupts over Australian Indigenous girl suspected killer. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on News Around the World here on BCOS television. I am Idowu Shekuni. In the sign language corner is Shakirat Ogundeji. President Tinubu has declared insecurity and poverty as national emergencies, warning that the twin crises posed grave threats to jobs, productivity, and national stability as Nigeria marks the 2026 Workers' Day celebration. This comes as Nigeria's organized labor declared that the country is drifting towards a dangerous tipping point, warning of collapsing social contract, a failing economy, and a worsening security crisis that could force workers off their jobs nationwide. President Tinubu speaking today through the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, Senator George Akume, during the National May Day celebrations at Eagle Square in Abuja, told workers, labor leaders, and guests that his administration was confronting both challenges with urgency and deliberate policy action. On security, President Tinubu pointed to the launch of the Community Protection Guards Initiative, which he said has recruited 45,000 young Nigerians to secure communities while simultaneously creating jobs. He commended security forces for their role in protecting economic activities and paid tribute to personnel who had paid the ultimate price in the line of duty. Addressing the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC and the Trade Union Congress TUC of Nigeria, President Tinubu called for sustained dialogue and restraint in the resolution of industrial disputes. Meanwhile, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, has felicitated Nigerian workers on the occasion of the 2026 Workers' Day, describing them as the backbone of the nation's growth and development. In a goodwill message issued on Friday, the 1st of May 2026, the First Lady extended warm greetings and deep appreciation to workers across the country, commending their resilience, dedication, and invaluable contributions to national progress. She noted that workers in both the public and private sectors continue to play a vital role in driving economic development, highlighting the effort of civil servants, professionals, artisans, and entrepreneurs. Oluremi Tinubu further praised the role of labor unions in advocating for improved welfare and conditions of service for Nigerian workers, while also acknowledging their cooperation in strengthening the nation's workforce. She encouraged continued collaboration between labor organizations and stakeholders to enhance productivity and national development. Senate President Godswill Akpabio has congratulated Nigerian workers on International Workers' Day, praising their strength, dedication, and love for the country despite the challenges they face at work. His message was personally signed and released today through his media aide, Eseme Eyibo. In the statement, Akpabio highlighted the importance of workers across different sectors. He acknowledged the difficulties workers face, including the rising cost of living and pressures at work, adding that the Senate is committed to improving workers' welfare through better laws and policies. Akpabio also called on employers to take better care of their workers, noting that a well-treated workforce is the key to national growth. As Nigeria marks Workers' Day 2026, experts have called for improved welfare for workers through enhanced health benefits, better transportation systems, and policies aimed at strengthening the Naira. A veteran labor leader, Dr. Bashir Olarinwaju, and the Nigeria Union of Journalists chairman of the Correspondence Chapel in Oyo State, Comrade Yinka Adeniro, made the call while speaking on workers' welfare on BCOS's television current affairs program, AM 120. Olamide Owolabi monitored the program and presents the details.
Workers' Day is observed annually on May 1st to celebrate the contributions of workers to national development. Speaking on BCOS AM 120, the NUJ chairman of the Correspondence Chapel in Oyo State, Komwenyinka Adenimo, noted that discussions on workers' welfare often focus largely on public sector employees, with those in the private sector receiving less attention. He also identified negligence and poor work attitude among some workers as challenges affecting productivity across both sectors. Comrade Adenimo, however, called on government to adopt results-oriented measures in the public sector, similar to those obtainable in the private sector, especially in revenue-generating agencies, to boost efficiency and productivity.
What I think has changed in the reality of the Nigerian worker is just things are going from bad to worse. And I wouldn't blame Nigerian workers for their plight. We have a situation where the monetary value, what they earn for their effort, keeps losing value. In terms of figure, you see figure rising. In terms of number, you see numbers increasing. But in terms of value, you see value falling. Now, you tell me, years back, workers' minimum wage talks about 18,000, talks about 21,000, 31,000, now it's 80,000. But the question before us is, this number increasing, what is the value? Is the value also increasing? Is value depreciating? A lot of times when we hear the figures, the number is increasing, the number is rising, oh, we'll clap, we jubilate. We at times even harass the workers, at least your pay has increased, so you too increase what you are doing, increase your way of living and whatever. But what we don't know underlying the fact is that even despite the increase, despite the rise in figure, the value, the purchasing strength and the power of that figure, what about it?
Also on the program, veteran labor leader Dr. Bashir Olariwaju said that while hard work can bring satisfaction, it does not necessarily guarantee a decent standard of living. He explained that many Nigerian workers earn what he described as survival wage rather than a living wage. Dr. Olariwaju added that strengthening the Naira, particularly by encouraging leaders to patronize the local currency, would improve purchasing power and enhance the living conditions of workers.
When it comes to negotiating for minimum wage, two things come into play in determining the price or the amount. The first one is what can make a worker feel fulfilled on daily basis, not monthly basis. Because only somebody that sees the end of the month can say that I was fulfilled throughout the last month. A contract between you and government, you have fulfilled your own, they have not fulfilled theirs. Your own is to go to the office and perform the job. Theirs is to pay you a decent or living wage, a survival wage. They are not paying us a living wage. They are paying us a survival wage. What they are paying us is, let us pay him so that he can come to the office maybe 20 times in a month. So you feel fulfilled between you and your creator that you have contributed your own part, you are playing your own part, okay. But you feel unfulfilled, that you are unable to extract the fulfillment of that promise by your employer that you are going to live well.
Both speakers urged government at all levels to implement policies that will improve the overall quality of life for Nigerian workers. Olamide Owolabi, BCOS News.
The government of Oyo State remains dedicated to fortifying the state's security framework by furnishing security operatives with necessary logistical resources. Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde stated this during the Workers' Day celebration at Lekan Salami Sports Complex, Adamasingba, Ibadan. BCOS reporter Olamipo Sishola brings the details.
Representatives of the Workers' Union under the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress assembled at Lekan Salami Sports Complex, Adamasingba, Ibadan, to commemorate this year's Workers' Day. In his remarks, the Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, reiterated that prioritizing the security of lives and property of the people in the state will be upheld. The governor was represented by Professor Musba Babatunde, the secretary to the state government, commended the labor leaders for their collaborative efforts in promoting the welfare of workers.
We have actually invested a lot in security in Oyo State, from the grassroots vigilante to the Amotekun security network, in terms of recruitment, in terms of giving them equipment, in terms of promoting interagency collaboration, in terms of providing technological services that can actually aid rapid response and support effective service delivery of our security agencies. Recently, we just procured 2 aircraft that will be used for surveillance. We've also carried out a lot of clearance operation, both by the police as well as from armed forces, across all the length and breadth of Oyo State. So we've been able to secure the Oyo State environment for the workers in Oyo State to be able to deliver their services as at when.
In separate remarks, Comrade Kayode Martins, the state chairman of NLC, and Comrade Bosun Olabiyi, TUC counterpart, stressed the significance of workers serving as catalysts for the positive change within their respective domains.
In Oyo State, while we acknowledge the efforts of the government in certain areas, we must emphasize that more needs to be done. We thank our local government, His Excellency Governor Sheyi Abiodun for the prompt and full implementation of the new minimum wage, timely payment of salaries, pensions, and investment in job growth.
The Asayin of Isayin, Oba Sefiu Oyebola, and veteran labor leaders, Comrade Olu Abiala, praised Oyo workers for their significant contributions to the development of Oyo State.
It is a notorious fact, and we want to say this, that we have never had a governor that is more worker-friendly in the history of Oyo State than Governor Oluseyi Makinde. He has been the most sympathetic to the workers' cause in the history of Oyo State.
The theme for this year is insecurity and poverty, threats to conducive work environment. Olamiposi Ishola, BCOS News.
National Workers' Day, also known as May Day, is set aside globally to recognize the contributions, sacrifices, and achievements of workers in driving socio-economic development. In Nigeria, the 2026 celebration, organized by the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress, brought together workers across various sectors in a show of unity and solidarity. Our correspondent, Olubunmi Lawal, reports on the side attractions that added color to the celebration held at the Lagos Salami Stadium at Amasimba in Ibadan.
It was a vibrant and colorful display of unity, culture, and solidarity as workers' union across Oyo State gathered to commemorate the 2026 Workers' Day celebration. Dressed in distinct uniforms and themed attires, members of various unions thrilled spectators with an impressive march past, reflecting discipline, coordination, and pride in service. Some workers who spoke with BCOS News expressed appreciation to the Oyo State government for its responsiveness to workers' welfare, while also calling for sustained efforts to improve working conditions.
Use this medium to appreciate His Excellency Engineer Sheyi Makinde for his good tidings he has been extending to members of the staff, especially from the local government extraction. It's one of the strongest union in Oyo State. And I want to say this, that we've been enjoying harmonious relationship with His Excellency in terms of prompt payment of salaries and some other things, just to mention few.
To appreciate God, who has been sparing their lives for the past 12 months, and at the same time to appreciate workers, because they are the brain behind the wealth that the political class are spending. First and foremost, appreciate the executive governor of Oyo State, Engineer Sheyi Makinde. They have been workers friendly. There was never a time that labor in the state walk up to him and table a demand that has to do with workers' welfare that he turned deaf ear. He has always been responsive to the yearning and plight of the worker.
We have to be honest with ourselves. There's a lot of sacrifice being done by the workers. We need a better welfare, a lot of improvement in what staffs take home. It's significant because looking at people working every day for the whole year, it helps to know that the people you are working for, they know the sacrifice and they know your worth of what you are doing. So please, we are looking at usually for better welfare for workers. It's something that we should not be talking about in 2026 by now. It's something that should have been a part of better improvement, not asking.
They also urge fellow workers to remain committed, diligent, and focused on their responsibilities in order to enhance productivity and national development.
That we need to be more resilient in the discharging our responsibility duties, our roles in the service. Also, we need to be focused as the members of staff in Oyo State. We need to reciprocate the gestures His Excellency have been sending to us in terms of a prompt punctuality in the office, in terms of our dedication to be up and doing in rendering our services to humanity.
At the end of the parade, the Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees emerged winner of the March Past competition, while the Nigeria Union of Teachers and the Association of Hairdressers and Beauty Therapy clinched the first and second runner-up positions, respectively. The event was graced by prominent traditional rulers, including the Aseyin of Iseyin, Oba Sefiu Oyebola, the Onkpetu of Ijeru, Oba Sunday Oyediran, and the Eleruwa of Erua, Oba Samuel Adegbola. National Workers' Day remains not only a celebration, but also a moment of reflection on the struggles and achievements of workers, as well as a renewed call for improved welfare, better working conditions, and sustained recognition of the workforce as the backbone of national development. Olubumi Lawal, BCOS News.
The Oyo State Council of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, has been described as one of the most forward-looking and mature labour unions in recent history. This assertion was made by the State Commissioner for Information, Prince Dotun Oyelade, who led the management of the ministry to the NLC Secretariat in Ibadan for a courtesy visit in solidarity with workers on the occasion of the 2026 Workers' Day celebrations. The Commissioner noted that Governor Seyi Makinde has kept to his promise of ensuring payment of worker salaries on or before the 25th of every month. He mentioned the sustaining of the 13th month salary and the fact that the Makinde administration has 3 times now increased workers' salaries, even as the workforce expanded significantly due to an unprecedented recruitment policy. He added that over 18 billion naira is paid monthly as salaries to the over 130,000 strong workforce in the state, representing an increase of over 800% compared to the 2019 baseline. In his remarks, the chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Oyo State Council, Comrade Kayode Martins, noted that the Seyi Makinde administration has taken deliberate steps to restore dignity to retirees through structured gratuity payments and the clearance of long-standing arrears. You're watching news around the world here on BCOS Television. We'll pause now for a short commercial break. Please stay tuned.
You can be sure parasite party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria. Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on, malaria gone.
With Nivea Dry Deo, you can keep moving forward in life with confidence. Nivea Dry Deo. Derma 72-hour active protection against sweat and odor with 0% alcohol to prevent irritation. Stay dry and fresh all day long. Skin is for moving forward, Nivea is for skin. Your favorite Nivea Deo, now in a smaller pack size.
Welcome back. Stakeholders at the Oyo State World Egungun Festival Symposium have identified poor documentation and inadequate funding as major challenges hindering the promotion of the festival's tourism potential to the global audience. Speakers at the event noted that the Egungun Festival, if properly harnessed and promoted, could become a significant source of revenue and economic empowerment for people of African descent. Details of the event held at the Oyo State Local Government Service Commission Hall, Secretariat Ibadan, are presented by Governor's Office correspondent Olaliko Sulaiman.
The 2026 World Egungun Festival Symposium brought together Egungun adherents, scholars, and key cultural stakeholders. In his address, the State Commissioner for Culture and Tourism, Dr. Wasiu Olatubosun, said the state government is committed to leveraging the entertainment value of the Egungun Festival to boost tourism and stimulate the local economy. According to Dr. Olatubosun, the gathering underscored the need for proper documentation of cultural activities, including the production of annual journals, as a means of preserving the state's rich heritage. He added that the festival is designed to expand its reach beyond your state to other Yoruba-speaking states and neighboring Benin Republic, with a view to strengthening cultural ties and increasing its global appeal.
At a certain point, some people introduce weapons, cutlasses, guns, and what have you, which made many parents to withdraw their children and wards from following Egungun. So, and that really, that action has affected the acceptability of Egungun, the entertainment aspect of Egungun. So I felt that, okay, as a tourism, in tourism, we need to bring people together. How do we do that? Is to showcase our cultural values and virtues.
In their separate presentations, the director of the Institute of African Studies, University of Ibadan, Professor Shola Olorunyomi, and the executive director of the Sahara Center, Dr. Adunola Okupe, noted that Egungun tradition embodied the history and spirituality of the Yoruba people, evolving over generations. They stressed the importance of integrating traditional cultural knowledge into modern system to drive economic and community development, while also highlighting the festival's value chain, which spans fabric, fashion, beadwork, music, and drumming.
Egungun is an innovation because every year when there's Odun, every year there's a festival. Egungun is always self-transforming, what they wear, what they dance, and the overall enactments.
How do we create meaningful work, but also how do we ensure that we're not only defining it in its economic terms, we're appreciating the social and cultural relevance, we're also appreciating the spiritual philosophies behind it, and then we're seeing that how can that inform a better way of how we see ourselves as Yoruba people and how we see ourselves as Nigerians.
The scholar further called for strategic investment, proper documentation, and sustained cultural promotion to position the festival as a major international tourist attraction. The event attracted key dignitaries, including the Deputy Head of Mission at the British Deputy High Commission in Lagos, Mr. Simon Field, as well as the wife of Oni of Ife, Olori Folashade Ogunwusi, among others. Olalekan Sulaiman, BCOS News.
Nigeria's political landscape faces renewed uncertainty following a decisive ruling by the Supreme Court on leadership crisis within the People's Democratic Party and the African Democratic Congress. Stakeholders who spoke with BCOS say the judgment has raised concerns about the preparedness of political parties ahead of the forthcoming elections. Details in this report are presented by Bimisola Adebayo.
The Apex Court nullified the People's Democratic Party's National Convention held in Ibadan, ruling that the exercise contravened a subsisting court order. The judgment effectively invalidates the leadership that emerged from the convention and underscores the need for a fresh process conducted in compliance with legal provisions. In a related development, the court also set aside earlier status quo orders on the African Democratic Congress leadership dispute and directed that the matter be returned to the Federal High Court for proper hearing to ensure fair representation of all parties involved. A human rights activist, Abiodun Bamigboye, describes the rulings as significant, noting that they have heightened public concern about the readiness of affected political parties for the electoral process.
Nigerians, as we speak, are not even sure whether any of those parties is going to be on ballots as a strong opposition or contendant against the ruling APC.
Also speaking, the Oyo State chairman of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Hakeem Abbas, urged political parties to prioritize internal cohesion and adhere strictly to their constitutions to avoid recurring legal disputes.
It goes a long way to tell us how political leaders, how they strategize, how they put their house in order. We will definitely have an end result. In 2014 or 2013, to be precise, the APC was formed. And I felt the APC started as a new political party. I would have expected the ADC also, members of the opposition who went into the ADC to have started a new party and register it, so that there won't be issues like this.
A legal practitioner, Adebimpe Adewolawo, explained that while the decision on the ADC aligns with due judicial process, the PDP's Board of Trustees now has a critical role to play in stabilizing the party ahead of the elections.
The appellant, which is the ADC chairman and all other NWC, their prayer before court is that the Federal High Court has no jurisdiction. But before you can argue that jurisdiction, it shows that the High Court must have seized of the matter, determine whether they have jurisdiction or not. The matter before the court has not been opened at all, has not been argued at all, has not been heard at all. You just jump and rush to Court of Appeal. And in the wisdom of the Supreme Court returned that matter back to Federal High Court for proper adjudication. The issue of PDP, the judgment is of two ways. Many people, the two factions have been celebrating whether the judgment is in their favor. But to me, what I see in that judgment is that the judgment only activates the BOT to do the needful. Because if that judgment nullified the Ibadan National Convention, it shows that there is no conventions that are recognized by law. So with the situation now, it is expected of BOT, of PDP, to rise to the occasion and then see how to reconcile the both factions together and then move on.
Meanwhile, the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, SCN, has approached the courts seeking the registration of some political parties, citing concerns over compliance with constitutional provisions. However, some legal analysts have advised that such actions may be better considered after the resolution of pending cases before the courts. As developments continue to unfold, attention remains on how the affected political parties will resolve their internal challenges and reposition for the elections in months ahead. Bimsola Adebayo, BCOS News.
Away from that, women across societies continue to face distinct social and emotional challenges that impact their well-being and personal development. Experts say these challenges, often shaped by cultural expectations and societal norms, contribute to women's vulnerability in various aspects of life. Our reporter, Abimbola Ashawande, takes a closer look at the emotional realities of women in today's society. Our report is presented by Bimbo Akobi.
Balancing domestic responsibilities with career pursuits remains a major reality for many women as they strive to meet both personal goals and societal expectations. Experts note that these demands often place significant emotional and psychological pressure on women, sometimes limiting their ability to express themselves freely. A gender advocate and head of Department, Agricultural Extension and Rural Development, University of Ibadan, Professor Stella Odebode, described the emotional experience of women as a continuous struggle between personal ambition and societal expectations.
Many women is a constant balancing act, maybe between selfhood and expectation, And when you say that there is pride, there is resilience, there is, patience, even sometimes too, we have ambition, but we also have pressure.
Professor Odebode explained that although women are widely perceived as strong and resilient, many tend to suppress their emotions in order to conform to cultural expectations surrounding marriage, respect, and assigned social roles. She added that women are often expected to shoulder emotional responsibilities within families and relationships, frequently at the expense of their own well-being.
Emotionally now, this can translate to suppression. You just suppress yourself to unnecessary. You're not always saying what we truly feel. And then sometimes you call it duality too. Being strong outside, but carrying private exhaustion inside. Now, hyper-awareness, maybe constantly reading situations to avoid conflict or judgment. There's a growing shift, especially among the younger ones, younger women, maybe towards self-expression, how to express themselves, independence, and emotional honesty, though it often comes with backlash.
Some women who spoke in separate interviews shared similar experiences, pointing to the difficulty of setting personal boundaries and making independent life decisions.
For decision making, you don't trust them enough to make decisions that are harmless to them or to you. So you don't leave them to make their decisions. I think what should be done is guide them to make proper decisions, then discuss it with them. If you see any loopholes, okay, these are the loopholes that I see. Why don't you do it this way? But do not scare them of their own goals.
There are a lot of things that women are facing. In terms of the economy, gone are the days that women are depending on their husband for everything. But now, if you cannot work and cannot provide for yourself, you are in trouble. There are some men that even run away for their women because maybe they are not able to bring one or two things to the table. So that's why they decide to move away for them.
Another respondent described women as socially vulnerable, citing instances of discrimination alongside emotional and physical challenges. While acknowledging the resilience of women, stakeholders emphasized the need for increased awareness, stronger support systems, and a shift in societal attitudes to ensure that women are not only protected, but also empowered.
You'll still watch the news around the world on BCOS television. We pause for another commercial break. When we return, it will be time for the sports segment of the news. Please stay with us.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
Welcome to the sports segment of the evening news. My name is Toby Ajewale.
The Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, has officially set the stage for the 2026 President's Federations Cup. Following the conclusion of the State FA Cups, the NFF Director of Competitions, Ruth David, confirmed that the national playoff round will commence on Wednesday, May 6, across various neutral centers. The tournament features a mix of MPFL heavyweights and emerging grassroots talent. Notably, Lagos will be represented by Ikorodu City and G12 Football Club, while former champions like Enyimba, Rangers International, and Rivers United remain the teams to beat. Key men's playoff matches include G12 Football Club taking on Dakar Karu FC in Abeokuta. Osogbo will be the venue of Sunshine Stars Under-19 versus Harmony Football Club of Ekiti. Enugu hosts Westgate of Edo State versus Amanda Football Club of Anambra, while Sokoto will be the venue of Zamfara United Feeders Team versus Kanta Warriors of Kebbi State. Bauchi hosts the fixture between Adamawa Academy and El Kanemi Warriors Junior Team as Lafia comes alive for Sporting Supreme Under-19 of the FCT versus Reyners Football Club of Kogi. In the women's category, the draw sees high-stake matches including Nigerian Air Force Queens versus Model Queens and Bayelsa Princesses versus Ikokwoma Queens. They join established giants like Rivers Angels and Bayelsa Queens in the hunt for the title. And in transfer news, Super Eagles goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali remains a free agent today after a high-profile move to Tanzanian giant Simba Sports Club fell through at the 11th hour. Despite advanced negotiations, the deal collapsed over what sources describe as exorbitant financial demands from Nwabali's representatives. The 29-year-old shot-stopper has been unattached since leaving South African side Chippa United in February, following a stellar 2025 AFCON performance, where it helped Nigeria secure a third-place finish. While Simba has officially moved on, Nwabali continues to be leagued with clubs across North Africa and Europe as the summer window approaches. And in other sport news, in a major blow to illegal broadcasting, the mastermind behind the world's largest piracy ring has been ordered to pay £3.75 million in criminal profit. Mark Gold, the driving force behind the flawless TV service, was told by the Derby Court this week to forfeit £2.35 million within 3 months or face an additional 10 years on top of his current 11-year sentence. Other gang members must also return a combined £1.4 million. The operation, which served over 50,000 customers and generated over £7 million, was dismantled following a private prosecution by the Premier League. The recovered funds will be split between the UK Treasury and the law enforcement agencies involved in the investigation. Finally, in sport news tonight from tennis, Japanese legend Kei Nishikori has announced that the 2026 season will be his last. The 36-year-old, a former world number 4 and the first Asian man to reach a Grand Slam singles final, the US Open in 2014, broke the news via his social media, citing physical toll of repeated injuries. Nishikori, who won an Olympic bronze in 2016 and secured 12 ATP titles, last competed at the highest level in August 2025. He plans a farewell tour through the remainder of the 2026 season to thank his global fan base.
And that will be all. And it's back to news around the world. My name is Toby Ajwali.
Thanks, Toby. On the foreign scene, hundreds of protesters have clashed with emergency workers in a remote Australian town after police arrested a man suspected of murdering a 5-year-old Indigenous girl. Foreign Desk Editor Folashade Akintola compiled the story and others as presented by Bimbo Akobi.
400 people gathered at Alice Springs Hospital in the Northern Territory, where the suspect was taken on Friday after locals beat him until he was unconscious. Australia's public broadcaster broadcast images of a crowd calling for payback, which refers to traditional, mostly physical, punishment in Aboriginal societies. They threw projectiles and lit fires, injuring a number of police officers and medical workers. Police vehicles, ambulances and fire trucks were damaged in the chaos. Police used tear gas to disperse the protesters. Northern Territory Police Commissioner Martin Dole said the violence erupted when Jefferson Lewis, the 47-year-old man police believed abducted and killed the young girl named by her family as Kumanjai Little Baby, presented himself to police at one of the town camps in Alice Springs. The girl had been missing from her home on the outskirts of Alice Springs since late Saturday. Her body was found on Thursday during a search by hundreds of police in dense bushland around the town, a popular tourist destination. 6 people have been injured in a stabbing at a school in the U.S. state of Washington following an altercation, police said. 5 high school students and an adult security guard were taken to hospital on Thursday, Tacoma Fire Department confirmed, adding that all were in stable condition. Police said it detained the suspect, a student at First High School, who was also injured in the incident. The suspect was booked on 5 counts of first-degree assault. Shelby Boyd, a spokesman for the Tacoma Police Department, said police responded to reports of an active assault at 13:35 local time. The fire department said it also attended the scene where it treated and transported 6 patients who were taken to hospital. 4 students were initially reported by Tacoma Fire Department to be in critical condition. 1 adult had minor injuries, and the suspect also had minor injuries. The authorities later confirmed that all patients were in stable condition as of 1600 local time. Finally, more than 160 activists on board 8 ships forming a flotilla bound for Gaza have been taken to the Greek island of Crete after Israeli forces seized their vessels in international waters near Greece earlier this week. Freedom Flotilla organizers have said. The organizers told the Reuters news agency on Friday that 168 members of the flotilla crew had been taken to Crete, while 2 activists remained with Israeli authorities. According to the group's tracker, 22 boats have been intercepted so far by Israel, while 47 others are still sailing. On Wednesday, Israeli military forces intercepted the boats traveling with the global Sumud flotilla from Barcelona in Spain, using drones, communications, jamming technology, and armed raiding parties to halt the humanitarian fleet in the middle of the Mediterranean as it headed to Gaza, according to organizers and Israeli media. Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar said the activists on the intercepted boats will be taken to Greece. Bimbo Akambi, BCOS News.
To end news around the world, here again are the top stories. President Tinubu has declared insecurity and poverty as national emergencies, warning that the twin crises pose grave threats to jobs, productivity, and national stability as Nigeria marks the 2026 Workers' Day celebration. The government of Oyo State remains dedicated to fortifying the state's security framework by furnishing security operatives with necessary logistical resources. On the foreign scene, hundreds of protesters have clashed with emergency workers in a remote Australian town after police arrested a man suspected of murdering a 5-year-old indigenous girl. The BCOS website is live. Kindly visit it at www.bcostv.com. You can also watch us on GoTV, channel 134, and on StarTimes, channel 113. Now, before I go, late night outing is conducive to criminality. Do not keep late nights. That's the news around the world. Many thanks for watching. Good night.